When you sign up to these major companies, these major corporations, and they make you a billionaire, they feel like they made you.
I'm like, did he do it? Did he drug her? Did he?
And when you go rogue, them people coming.
So I don't get sued, that these are all allegations. Everything that I'm going to say after this is an allegation that is being claimed by Rodney in this lawsuit document, which we will include as a link for you guys if you are watching this on YouTube. Let's go through the big claims. Ready? Number one, this is perhaps the biggest claim, is that Diddy and his son murdered someone in plain daylight and got away with it. Gunshots suddenly ringing out. He recalls hearing multiple gunshots. After the shooting ended, a crowd gathered around the restroom. When the door finally opened, Mr. Combs and his son exited. G was lying on the restroom floor in a fetal position, holding his stomach and bleeding out of his leg and his hip area. Here is what is interesting. The ambulance does arrive, and Mr. Combs, according to Mr. Jones, Diddy gives strict instructions to inform the police that he had nothing to do with the shooting. He also forced the producer to lie to the police, includes in his lawsuit this photo of the bathroom and we are blurring it here, of the blood in that bathroom, right? A fake police report was produced, and then fake headlines were the result. This is CBS News. Man shot outside party at Hollywood recording studio and fed to the media to cover up murder. The second big explosive thing that comes from this document are the allegations that Diddy hosts freak-offs, essentially sexual events to procure blackmail on other people in the industry. That they all come and they have these drug-fused parties with underage boys, with underage girls. Right? So if you can suddenly record somebody and they're hooking up with a person that is underage, if you're doing drugs and Diddy has cameras on it, well then Diddy owned you. Which leads me to think, what even is gangster rap? It's a question that I have been asking a lot. It seems to me that there is something intentional, that they are intentionally feeding us filth via the media. Oh yes, of course, Jeffrey Epstein, who was bizarrely protected. He was clearly an asset of not just the CIA, but also potentially the Mossad over in Israel. And he too had so much access, so much wealth, and he got away with it for years, procuring what very clearly is blackmail on politicians. So what we are recognizing is that this ring also exists within Hollywood. Explosive allegation number 3 was that there's even a Ghislaine Maxwell, so to speak, a madame, and that is his chief of staff, Christina Karam. I don't know how journalists aren't interested in figuring out who this woman is. Her job, as alleged in this lawsuit, was to keep Diddy high. Witnessed defendant Karam openly order her assistants to keep Mr. Combs high off of gummies and pills. It was important to the defendant Karam to have Mr. Combs' drug of choice immediately ready whenever he asked for it. She also ordered, allegedly, sex workers and prostitutes for Mr. Combs and would order the distribution of ecstasy, cocaine, GHB, ketamine, marijuana, and mushrooms to Mr. Combs and his celebrity guests who were present on his rented yacht and in his homes throughout LA, New York City, and Miami. He even lists everybody in the ring. He says that it is Diddy's son, Justin, that solicits the prostitutes and the underage girls and the sex workers, allegedly, for these freak-offs. He also lists Stevie J, who recruits the sex workers and attends and participates in the freak-offs, and another young man named Brendan Paul, who works as Mr. Combs' mule. He acquires and distributes all of the drugs and the guns. And yes, Christina Karam apparently even instructs them to mix those drugs into the liquor when these women are invited over. So why is the media not interested in this story? The person who sits at the top of this ring potentially is Sir Lucian Grange. He is the CEO of Universal Music Group. He is also being sued. He has also been named as well as Universal Music Group. And he is, as a fact, one of the most powerful men in Hollywood. Rodney, the producer, is alleging that when Lucian would visit Diddy's house, the two of them would go into Diddy's bedroom and be locked up in there for hours. By the way, I looked into Lucian, and I find it really bizarre that he completely changed his name. He used to be Michael G. the son of Cecil G, who was a huge tailor in London. I found that in this old article. In this article, there's a picture of Lucien. He was then, again, Michael G. He's sitting with his father, Cecil G. And it's just bizarre that also his father changed his name. In the article, it tells you that his father used to be Sasha Goldstein. So Sasha Goldstein became Cecil G, who gave birth to Michael G, who is now Lucien Green. That brings us to number 5, and this is pretty explosive. That we can garner that Cat Williams was right.
Did he do it? Did he drug her? Did he rape her? If you ain't do this shit, did he? Why did you? You was an icon, nigga. You ruined it. Did he documentary coming out 50 cents?
He implied that Diddy was a gangster and that he had something to do with bizarre sex parties.